Hello and welcome to my Let's Play Civilization 6 Rise and Fall. In this video, you got to decide what I am going to play as. I have 6 starts saved up, and you can decide in the comments what I should play. Just write me which one you think would be fun, and I may go for it. If you can't decide really between 2 or 3, just name them all, and I will take it into considerations. I have a hard time to decide which one I go for. This is one of it. We are Scythia, Tomiris, with the horse, with the special archers, with the special horse units. Very good for warmongering, and interestingly we have a natural wonder right next to us. It gives +2 food and culture to its tiles. This means there are some amazing tiles, and we have a river in here. It's very flat though. It's really flat. I will not do much chops and stuff, but still it's an interesting start, I would say. And I can always consider moving directly adjacent to it and later on build an aqueduct, because it's a capital that starts with more housing. We have a look at here, we see there is no fresh water over here. Maybe we're lucky and there is more over there. We will see. We can always save scum a little bit. That's always an option. Just move in, see what is bad over here, and if it's bad, reload, start again. So, if you want this start, then vote for Scythia. Okay, let's load another start. Egypt.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water.
I guess I may have to cut this video. Or maybe I'm lazy and I will just not. So I think all of these 6 starting locations are interesting in their own way. They provide different ways to start a game. Some of them may be more viable than others. All of them are on DT. And each of them is with a different civilization. I just random rolled them. I did not pick. I just went DT, Pangea, random Civ, legendary start, and let's see what I get. And I reload like 1,000 times. So the previous one was lots of food, lots of culture to start with, which would mean we would roll through the civics early on very fast and start with actually a good era score, because found the natural wonder, that's +3 era score. Settling at the natural wonder is another 3 era score. And getting maybe some things early, like a governor early, because we get through the civics earlier, is another more era score. So chances for a golden age early on is very high. Then we have this. Here I did move already, because I think I started on this hill. And I managed to spot Kilimanjaro in here, which adds +2 food to all the tiles around it. Now, I haven't done too much scouting here. We may do some safe scumming and move a little bit more to see if we should settle where we stand. It should be settling on turn 2. Or we want to move further and maybe settle deeper down to have more Petra hills. We could do that, and then if we don't, if the desert ends, then we just load and settle here. It's an option. Because a Petra that has hills with Kilimanjaro, oh my god, this is so good. And we're Egypt, this means we can build everything on floodplains. And we have the Sphinx, which is actually pretty decent if you're Egypt. Can be built on floodplains, so we actually have stuff to improve the desert and floodplain tiles. With Petra together, that's really good. That is a really damn good capital. And the land down here is also not bad. Good hills, some fresh water, there is another river. This river seems to be going. So this is really damn good land. And Egypt is a really decent civilization. And I like to play with unique tile improvements and some wonder build. So yeah, still it's DT, that's a challenge, but it's clearly an option we could go for. Then we have Pericles for Greece. Which is something I haven't done on YouTube yet. I haven't played as Pericles. And I have started as Gorgo once. But why I never uploaded the Gorgo Let's Play was because of the fall patch. The fall patch ruined my save game. So I could not actually, it was in the middle of the playthrough with Gorgo, and then I couldn't load it anymore after like 3 or 4 episodes, which was sad because it was a fun Let's Play. And Greece is, I mean, Greece is certainly good, although I would say Gorgo is better than Pericles, because Pericles gets plus 5% culture per city-state you are a sovereign of, which is, if it's going good, if it's going really good, it's plus 20% culture. If it's going bad, it's plus 0% culture. And on DT the chances are closer to 0% than 20%. Most likely it's just 5%, because you will maybe be sovereign of one city-state that did not die, where you put all your envoys in. So yeah, that's not so good. The culture out of killing units is much better, especially on DT where you're forced into war. But the Hoplite is a really good early game unit. I mean, it's still a Spearman, which is not the greatest early game unit, but the plus 10 combat strength if a Hoplite stands next to a Hoplite, that's actually really good. This means your Spearmen are just 10 stronger than everybody else, and the Acropolis is pretty decent. So, what we got here is the dream jungle start. We already settled. We have pastures to work. We have all of the work tiles are good. And if we pull off a Chichen Itza, let's check what the Chichen Itza does. Plus 2 culture and production, and 1 production to all rainforest towns. This is so good. And we have a forest here to chop, and maybe a little bit more. We can also chop 1 or 2 of the districts, get a really good campus in here, we can chop that. The only downside is it's DT, so it's super hard to get Chichen Itza. But it could be worth a shot. And even, let's be honest, without Chichen Itza, it's still a good city. Imagine Magnus in here, the governor. This dude that gets plus 100 yields from plot harvests. If we harvest this jungle, the city will grow and produce so fast. This is useful. Early on, we have decent tiles to work, but we cannot do early chops. That's the downside. But it's still very interesting, because I've never really had such a jungle start with all jungle hills. And with Greece. And we don't have a YouTube video on Greece, and I never played as Pericles. So, I think this start has its own appeal. It's certainly interesting. Is it strong? It has chances, but on DT it's a bit hard. But still, I see potential in it. Could be very interesting of a game. Let's see what else we have. We have John Curtin, Australia. No, I played as Australia, but off stream. And Australia is strong. Australia is a really good civilization, because the Outback Station is actually a good tile improvement. The plus 100% production when they have been declared war on, that's good. So you can use it as like, oh shit, I'm declared war on, and you can actually make still some use out of it. It's nice. And the best is land down under. Plus 3 housing on coastal cities. That's really good because coastal cities have a little lack of housing when they don't have fresh water. With this, they actually are pretty decent, and if you get both, amazing. Then pastures trigger a culture bomb. That's really nice. Saves you some tile buying, yeah. And yields from campuses, commercial hubs, holy sites, and theater squares. So everything but industry. In tiles that is charming or breathtaking, get additional yields. That's really good. So if you get like a campus surrounded by mountains, it doesn't only get +1 per mountain, which is maybe something like 3 or 4. It also gets +3 from being breathtaking, which is very likely if it's surrounded by mountains, which is easily +6 or maybe even 7 of science out of that. That can be so good. Or if you're doing it next to a natural wonder, which we actually have. We're on turn 3 though, because we started somewhere like on this hill or something like that. We started with an awkward position, but I moved my warrior and I have realized, wait, why does these 2 tiles have faith on it? There must be a natural wonder. Moved closer to it and was like, okay, that's really good. We also have some decent coastals. I mean, we have a reef that's workable. 3 food, 1 production, 1 money is good. There are 3 desert hills, some more desert, some desert elephants. This is a really decent start. I mean, it's not an insane Petra like the one with Egypt, but we're playing a better, actually an overall better civilization than Egypt. And with Petra, this will be amazing. And because this is a good natural wonder, this means natural wonder improved appeal, and coastal cliff is also decent appeal. We have we have bad appeal here, but only because this is jungle and there's a marsh. If we chop these 2 jungles and this marsh, then we have great appeal around here. As you can see, there's great appeal over here. So, and this is fresh water. No, settler mode. There's no fresh water, but still we're Australia. We can settle a city coastal in here and get a good expansion city. And this city, we have 2 opportunities. We can settle on this goody hut, be coastal, have fresh water, have a shit ton of housing, and decent tiles to work. We will reach up to this elephant, which is really good. And we can initially work the oasis and then work all the good tiles. Really good. We get an early pantheon and stuff. We could get the pantheon that gives the earth. Let's quickly check. Pantheon. Earth goddess. +1 from charming or better appeal. And since all these tiles have charming or better appeal, and most of the coastal tiles too, these are all not only 2 faith, there are 3 faith. We have a lot of faith generation. That's the appeal of this. Literally the appeal. That's the other option besides of settling here is settling here and actually get access to the second elephants, to the first elephants immediately, to the bananas, and to possibly good stuff in here. That I see value in both. And actually, before we start to do some safe scumming, let's settle here to see. So good. Okay, there is a jungle. Let's have okay, it doesn't show me fresh water right now because I settled too close. But so the river goes in this direction. There's a jungle to maybe chop or something. We don't know what is on these tiles. So if there is super good stuff on these tiles, we can go for this. If not, we can go for this. We can easily start this, do a little safe scumming to see what is there and reload, and then make our decision. Totally an option. This, I think, is also a really interesting start with a strong civilization. I haven't played on stream yet with a faith Petra start that we should be able to pull off, because these 2 elephants are so strong. This elephant and this elephant, and if we settle here we get this elephant. Really good. I mean, look at this. We push out the stuff so fast, we have good growth. Amazing start. And we don't see that much of the land, but still already 1 expansion spot. This is good. So what else do we have? We have already seen 4 very interesting starts. I have saved one with Victoria, another civilization that I haven't played. I haven't played her at all because I think she's a bad civilization. England in this game is really bad. They don't have longbows with more range, like in Civ 5. So, the Sea Dog is a privateer replacement, and it's okay, but there are better naval unique units from other civilizations. The Red Coat is an industrial era unit that gets plus 10 strength when fighting on a continent other than my capitals, which can be very useful if you're like on the border of a continent, but most of the time it's completely useless. The Royal Navy dockyard isn't much better than a normal harbor. All the benefits are only if it's on another continent again, which is something we have little control over. The British Museum is really cool if we go for tourism, which means we can build more art museum because to have more artifact slots for archaeology stuff is good, but it doesn't mean we will have more total archaeology. Because if I just settle enough cities, I have enough archaeology slots anyway without this British Museum benefit. What determines how many archaeology stuff I get is actually how much archaeology sites I find on the map. And how fast I get there. If I get there after other people got there, then there are not all anymore left. But if we get there early, this is actually really useful because we can put more artifacts in less cities and therefore go for more artists. That's pretty neat. But is it impactful? Nah, not so much. And all found or conquered cities on a continent other than your home continent again. Receive a free melee unit. Okay, cute. Gain the red card unique unit when... Yeah. Yeah. It's nice, but not relevant. I can... But we have no natural wonder here, but we have actually a good starting location. And we have turtles. I've never had turtles. I have seen them occasionally, but I never had to start the... I never could start with them. And we have gems, and we have some stone. One of them is on a hill. We have some bananas. And what makes this start also really good is not only the river, and we have actually a very decent space. We start on a plains hill, which means if we settle this, our city has 2 food, 2 production, not just like on a grassland hill or on grassland anyway. It would be only 2 food, 1 production. Here it's 2 food, 2 production. Good tile to start. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forests, possibly more, to chop. 7 forests in the capital to chop. This means we can chop out wonders or settlers. This makes this start very flexible. Once we get Magnus in there with this, we can chop out whatever we need. This makes this start really strong. And it has several hills and stone. Stone can be either harvested or be built to a quarry for industry districts. I see wonder build potential. This is just generally a strong start with a civilization I haven't played yet. That could lead to something interesting. If you want, if you think, natural wonders are cool, but I'd rather see you play with England and see what you make out of this start, I can go for that too. Could be very interesting. Then we have the last one, our 6th one, is Rome. I have played Rome already twice. Rome was one of the earlier civilizations I played when I wasn't that confident yet in the game, but still already played on DT. And of course in my Europe Veni Vidi Vici Let's Play, I obviously played Rome on a special map. And that was one of my most successful games ever. And Rome is, in my opinion, the strongest civilization ever, in general. because it can do all victory types really efficient. And we found here an interesting starting location. That's why at first I was like, oh no, Rome, I will not play Rome. I have played Rome already enough. Rome is strong, yeah, sure, but I don't just want to play strong civs. But I got something out of the ordinary, and with Rome we can certainly pull things off. And if you don't mind me playing Rome again, then yeah, sure. I mean, like I often said, the starting location has much more impact on how the game is going than the actual civ you're playing as. Especially all the civilizations that have late game benefits, or like, doesn't really matter. The starting location determines if your game is going to be successful or not. And we have found Uluru here. Uluru and the desert. And luxury in the desert. And oasis directly next to Uluru. We did move though. I think we started here. And I've seen this with my warrior. It was like, I move closer to it. We can also do some saves coming. But I think the best decision here is either settle on this to have immediate fresh water and the growth tile to work on, or settle on this luxury, which is probably a super powerful start, get not so good tiles to work on immediately, but get very soon, because with the 3 culture we will expand to this tile very soon. We can always buy tiles, we get more gold, more culture, more faith, we'll have very early faith, just like in the other game, in the Australia game start. Kind of similar, but with Rome and not the coast. We are probably in the middle of everything. This is such a flexible start and incredibly strong. If we go here and settle, our culture to start with will go through the roof. I mean, I can demonstrate it. We have the good era score because Wonder and Start City, and we get a free monument in the palace, and we work this right now. We will have a super slow scout. We could also work this for the fastest scout. Scout faster by 2 turns. Or we keep working this. We have 4 faith, which means we have in like 7 and 6, 4.1 faith. No, in 7 turns, in 6 or 7 turns, it depends a little bit. About in 7 turns, we have our Pantheon already. That's super early, and we make 8.7 culture, and that will not go down, that will go up. In 3 turns, we have Code of Laws already. We rush through these 5 turns for this, without even the boost. Holy shit! We will have political philosophy super early. This is an amazing start. I mean, it's still not a piece of cake, because we lack production, and initially we lack growth. We can fix that soon enough. If we would settle here, then we would have this in range, and this. So maybe it's better to settle here. That is open for discussion, and I will contemplate if we decide for this start. But it's DT. On DT, even Rome has to play well to succeed, because if we're unlucky, then we're surrounded by enemies who early declare war on us, then we're still struggling, or we get swarmed by barbarians and someone declaring war on us. You never know. But this start is so flexible and has so much potential, and to start with 8.7 culture is ridiculous. I never had that. That is something new. I'd love to play around with that. So, these are our 6 options. We have Tomiris, Scythia with the Icelandic volcano, a lot of culture and food. And we have this Rome that we just saw. Then we have John Curtin with another desert wonder that has a lot of faith and good elephants, maybe coastal, maybe inland, with Australia that is super strong. Then we have the Cleopatra with Kilimanjaro, Petra City. That would be a super strong capital. And then we have Victoria with all the chopping and the super strong start. That is very flexible, no natural wonder. So a little bit more standard, but still a civilization I haven't played. And then we have Pericles with the jungle everywhere and still 3 pastures. So either chop the jungle or rush Chichen Itza. Who knows what can happen. So one of these 6 games I will load and play next. It's up to you. Please write in the comments which one you find the most interesting. I'm looking forward to your comments. See you next time when we actually start as one of those.